Adam Mockler and Melik Abdul make our political panel today. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk a little bit about what we just saw there. These four people, one of them only listed as an initial, really making the headlines, testing the Trump administration's authority. What's your read on the current state of affairs and where these storylines are heading?
Are you going?
That's to you, Melik. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So I think this is a fight that the administration wanted. Two things that the Trump administration, when Donald Trump was running for president, it was really the immigration and the issue on the economy. Now, where it may seem that Donald Trump, some of his numbers are going down when it comes to the economy, Donald Trump still overwhelmingly, the majority of the people support what it is that he's doing. I've said many times before that if the Trump administration had planned to make any of the migrants the face of the deportation efforts, then it probably shouldn't have been this Garcia guy, but simply because he had been through the court and there was a standing deportation order for him. But because the Trump administration acknowledged that it made an error, an administrative error, I think that this is something that the Trump administration knew that they were going to get into. And they don't mind the fight with the court because the plan overall, altogether, was to test the authority of the executive branch. And that's what Donald Trump is doing.
Melik, Senator Van Hollen made some headlines this week, actually going down and meeting with Garcia. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts there, whether or not this is just political grandstanding, if, showmanship like that works, or if this is all, the right thing to do for politicians to be making those sort of visits.
Well, of course, this is grandstanding, and this is the best thing that they can do. Democrats are in a bind here because they are not just more unpopular than Republicans, even more so unpopular than Donald Trump. So whether it's Cory Booker giving 26-hour speeches, this is simply the best that they could do. Maybe AOC, Bernie being the leader of the Democratic Party. This is all Senator Holland the senator from Maryland could do, but I think that this is something that will probably play well to many of the people who have, as far as Republicans are concerned, have coddled immigrants all along. Biden ran on this issue of immigration, and he even didn't think that there was an issue at the border until it was too late. So I think that this is a gift for Republicans overall, because we'll definitely use Van Hollen and any of the others down there. We'll use them in ads for sure.
All right, let's bring in Adam Mockler. He is the host of Midas Touch. I'm going to get your opinion about Van Hollen here in a second, Adam. First, I want to play a soundbite from him from earlier this week. Take a listen.
I am not defending the man. I'm defending the rights of this man to due process. And the Trump administration has admitted in court that he was wrongfully detained and wrongfully deported. My mission and my purpose is to make sure that we uphold the rule of law.
So, Adam, the courts have continually rejected the administration's arguments for not bringing Abrego Garcia back. How do you think this mistake will impact Trump's overall efforts to enforce sweeping immigration policies?
Yeah, Melik said that this seems to be overall a win for Republicans. I completely disagree. The Trump admin is currently openly defying court orders after they admitted that they made an error with somebody's life. Now, what Van Hollen said there is super true, and I don't like this game that some Republicans are playing where they say, you Democrats love to defend criminals, you love to defend gang members. Never in my life would I do that. That is never my intention. We want to defend due process, and the Trump admin is playing this weird game of heads I win, tails you lose, where they deny the right to a habeas petition before somebody's deported, and then after somebody's deported, they say, we don't have the jurisdiction to bring you back, even though the Supreme Court said your rights don't just vanish at the border, especially when the United States is the one deporting you. So the Trump admin is defying court orders. The Trump admin made a massive error and admitted it, and this is going to overall weaken their ability to carry out this mass deportation they wanted to do.
Let's talk about another hot-button issue. It's been this case for about a month now. That's pro-Palestine protester organizer Mahmoud Khalil's detainment and possible deportation. Melik, Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the government has the right to deport anyone who goes against U.S. foreign policy, but many say that this is a violation of Khalil's right to free speech. Given Khalil is a green card holder and not a citizen, does free speech apply here?
Well, I think the court's already ruled on this, and I thought that they ruled that that the administration was right to actually send him back. And what the administration is doing, they're using very obscure laws. Many of us have never heard of these laws. Even there was the Aliens Enemies Act. They're using these laws to legally go after migrants or people who don't have the non-natural born citizens here in the United States. And I think this, again, is something that the administration was prepared to do. But it is not the first time that an administration has challenged executive authority. We've seen that in the Biden administration and even in the Barack Obama administration. Donald Trump is being much more aggressive than either of them when it comes to executive authority. But this is something that a fight that Donald Trump wanted going into office. But at the end of the day, I have every bit of confidence that our court systems will prevail, which is why the court, and I think a number of 6-3, where you had conservative justices, many of the justices that the left has been against all along, they told Donald Trump, you can't do this anymore, at least temporarily.
Okay, our thanks to our political panel today, Adam Mockler and Melik Abdul. We appreciate you.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.